Hi, my name is Rudy Divas, and this is my project for Technical English number one. So what I got here, it's a couple of electronic components, and what I'm going to do is just to explain a little bit of these components. So at first, I have resistors. A resistor, there's two kinds of resistors, but the principal function of resistor in a circuit is to reduce the flow of electricity. So in a fixed resistor, we have a set and a specific value and cannot be changed. So we can identify the measure of the resistance by the colors in the resistance. So I got here two different resistors, and we can see the difference between the size and this difference between the colors, and the colors indicates the measure of the resistance. Now I have here a variable resistor. A variable resistor is able to manage flows at the specific low, at the specific level and below. For example, I got here 1000 ohms of resistance. So I can go from zero resistance, nothing of resistance, through 1000 resistance just to turn this little part here. So in a circuit, we are able to choose what kind of resistors we want to use. So for example, these resistors can help us with LEDs, and we can find those kind of resistors, for example, in a volume controls. Um, Now what I got here is a ceramic capacitor. A ceramic capacitor is a fixed capacitor with the ceramic material acting as the electric. The difference between this capacitor and this capacitor is that this is an electrolytic capacitor, and the electric use here it's liquid. So uh, those are basic the difference, and um, the function of a capacitor is to conduct alternating current and block the run current. So there's different size of capacitors. We can see the difference with this and this, and for example here one of these plates to achieve a larger capacitance unit volume than other types, but this kind of resistors have some disadvantage. Now I'm going to talk about diodes. What I got here are diodes. The most common function of a diode is to allow an electricity current to pass in one direction. So we can, there's two parts in a diode. This is I want to talk about this. This is a germanium diode, and it's a kind of diode which allows current flow in the forward direction in the same manner as an ideal diode. An ideal diode have two terminals. In one terminal, we can find the resistance. It's lower here than here, so it just let us to pass the current in just one direction. So this is also called center diode, and it allows currents to flow in the forward direction and also permit to flow in the reverse direction only when the voltage is above a certain value known as the breakdown voltage. So what I got here, it's a common diode, also called silicium diode, a semiconductor that has positive and negative polarity and can allow electrical current to flow in one direction, as I explained before. Another kind of diode, and we almost see these kind of diodes every day, are the famous LEDs. LEDs means light emitting diode. It's a semiconductor diode Source: LEDs are used as indicator lamps in many devices and are included, and they are used almost for lighting. So there's different sizes, and as I said before, we can find those almost every day. Um, Now I'm going to talk about infrared red LED. So we can see that it's the same. They have almost the same characteristic with uh, a normal LED, but the infrared LED, it's a type of electronic device that emits infrared light. That means that it's not visible for us, and an infrared LED operates like a regular LED, but may use different materials to produce infrared light. This infrared light might be used for a remote control, to transfer data between devices, to provide illumination for a night vision equipment, or for a variety of other purposes. And I got here a fuse. A fuse is an electrical engineering component used for low resistor that acts as sacrificial device to provide overcurrent protection. A fuse interrupts excessive currents. It means that it blows so that further damage by overheating or fire is prevented. So this is example of a normal fuse. So we can see here a little line. So it protects our circuit when for example we have an excessive current. What I got here, those are called chips as we call normal, but those are um, logic gates that they are unified in integrated circuit. So inside here we have a complex complex circuit, and for example I got an image here of what can we find inside this IC. So in inside this little and tiny chip we can find this. So I got four different kinds of IC. One is the IC 7407. I have this 7408, 7432, and also the 7474. So those are different kind of circuits. For example, it's the 707 is a package contains 6 independent positive logic not inverting buffers. The 7408 is a chip, is a quadruple 2 input and gate chip. It means that we have, it's exactly what we have here, what I show you first. We have four and gate chip. So to understand what is that, we have to understand what is a gate, but this is another topic. The 7432, and I just forget to tell that we can find the number here. If you want to know what kind of IC are we using, we just need to read in the below part and we can read it. So the 7432 contains 4 independent positive logic OR gates. So we have AND gates, and here we have OR gates. And finally, we have the 7474, and it's a microchip that acts like a switch. It has 1 byte of memory to remember the status when it was last trigrade, it's called. So we can save information here, but we just have 1 bit, and this is kind of this is one of the electronic microchips that have more information inside this. So after that we have the 555, or called 555, and this is just for generate pulses when we need those in a circuit. And we have an example of transistor, and a transistor is also a semiconductor device used to amplify and switch electronic signals and electronic power. It's composed of a semiconductor material with at least three terminals. We can see here we have one, two, three terminals, and these terminals are the connection to an external circuit. So the use for the transistor is just to amplify the current. And finally, we have switch. As in electronical engineering or in electrical engineering, a switch is an electrical component that can break an electrical circuit, interrupting the current or diverting it from one conductor to another. So that's the function. We use those every day when we turn off the lights, and this is kind of switch. So finally, I just want to show how we can identify those components in a circuit. So this is the symbol for a resistor, a fixed resistor. This is the symbol for variable resistor. This is the symbol for a ceramic capacitor. This is a symbol for a normal capacitor, or as we call here, it's electronic capacitor. This will be a germanium diode. This is a germanium diode or Calzener diode, and this is a common diode, and we can see the difference between the terminals, and the current just flow in one direction. We have here the LED, light emission diode, and the infrared are kind of the same. The fuse, we can see the symbol here, a transistors, the three terminals, and also a switch. So we can see a switch is able to interrupt the current in a circuit. So this is just some of the electronic components used in electronic engineering and in electrical engineering. I think that's very important that we can know the meaning, especially in English, because almost every manual and the direction for machines or some, I don't know, some devices are in English. So that's why it's so important to know English. And well, this is my project for technical English number 1, and I hope you like it.